Hey everyone, IIM Lucknow has come up with its selection criteria for its 2023-25 batch, and there's a lot of good news for all of you. So if you're looking at getting to IIM Lucknow, getting into the top IIMs, IIM Lucknow, as you know, is one of the top 4 IIMs in the country. In 2023, do listen on to this video to understand how you can make it. So what IIM Lucknow does is, in the first stage, it asks you to clear the cutoffs of the CAT, and the cutoffs are, as you can read on this slide here, 85, 85, 85 on the sectionals for quants, DILR and verbal, and 90 overall if you are a general candidate. If you belong to the EWS or the OBC category, then you've got 77, 77, 77 sectional wise, and 82 overall as your overall percentile to qualify the first criteria. And of course, you can read through this table to understand the remaining criteria for different categories with respect to the cutoffs in the CAT you need to clear to be able to be eligible to get an IIM Lucknow call. Now, once you have cleared the cutoffs of the sectional scores as well as the overall scores in the CAT, you would typically be in one of the 8 to 10,000 people who are eligible for IIM Lucknow selection this year if you are a general candidate. Why do I say 8 to 10,000? Because the 90 percentile will be got by around 18 to 20,000 people, assuming somewhere around 1,80,000 to 2 lakh people write the CAT. So the 90 percentile will come at around 18,000 to 20,000 people. And you don't just need to get that. So 20,000 people are qualifying the overall percentile criteria. But out of that, how many will qualify 85 in each of the three? So as you know, a lot of people who will get a 70, 75 in one section and 90 plus in two more sections and get an overall 90 percentile. So all those people who are not getting 85, a balance of 85 across the three sections are actually out. So what this does, what this criteria does, the first criteria itself, is it puts you in rarefied atmosphere of maybe 8,000, 10,000. Your guess is as good as mine in this, whether it will be 10,000 people or 12,000 people or 7,000, 8,000 people. That depends on the actual numbers, and we really cannot guesstimate exactly, but we can say with a fair degree of certainty that will be somewhere between 8 to 10,000 people, maybe 12,000 people overall whom you are competing with in case you are qualifying all the 4 cutoff criteria for the CAT to be called by IIM Lucknow. And after this, the institute will look at your composite score, and the composite score is consisted of a weightage of 60% to CAT, which is in my view huge, and I'll come to the analysis of that. 60% to CAT, 10% to your class 12th marks. Please understand, there's no weightage for class 10th. So if you had a bad class 10th result, IIM Lucknow is not penalizing you for that in the 23-25 batch at all. So 10% for 12th, 10% for graduation marks, so that's 60 plus 10 plus 10, that's 80. 10% for work experience, and 5% each for gender diversity and academic diversity. So that's how the 100 marks of composite score is divided in the IIM Lucknow selection criteria. Now let's take a look at each of these one by one. The CAT percentile, or the percentage weightage on CAT is 60%, which is a pretty high number. Out of the 100 marks, 100 points of the composite score, you are actually having 60 right inside your hands. You're completely in control of the 60 marks. And how much you are given out of the 60 marks is basically a straight line function of your score divided by the CAT topper score. So if the highest score in CAT is 150 and you score, let's say, 120, you will get 80% of the marks. 120 by 150 is 4 by 5. So you'll get 80% of the marks of 60 points, which basically means you'll get 48 marks. If the highest CAT topper score is 150 and you score 100, it means you'll get 2/3 of the 60 marks. That means you'll get 40 marks out of 60. That's how this number is created. And as you can see, as you'll see in my analysis as we continue going ahead, you will see that there is, even if you have had one bad result or even 2 bad results at graduation and 12th, you still can overcome a lot of it through the CAT performance by actually getting a very strong score. And this is something I like about this criteria that come up with, because this puts it in your hands. It puts you completely in control of your destiny. They are not completely writing you off because of bad scores in 12th and graduation. And it's a fair call, I think, that how you performed in graduation is very immediate to what your MBA performance would be, and giving a weightage to the graduation marks as against giving weightage to 10th marks. 10th marks are 7 years, 9 years, 10 years behind for a lot of you, and they are actually not penalizing you or not favoring you for good or a bad performance in class 10th, but looking at your last 3 to 4 years of academic performance to actually give you 10 plus 10 marks there. So that way, the CAT weightage of 60 gives you, puts the entire selection completely in your control. And if you can have a great CAT, 5-7 marks here or there, suppose if you look at the numbers again, people who got above 90 percentile will be 18,000, and let's say out of them, people who score about 85, 85, 85 each are around 10,000 people in the 3 sections, are around 10,000 people. And then out of those 10,000 people, we have got some people who are scoring only 92, 93, 94 percentile, and you are scoring 99 percentile, which means you have got a 40 mark advantage in the CAT on them, or 30 mark advantage on the CAT on them, which might translate to around 10 to 12 points on the weightage of CAT. And if you have something against, something negative in your profile of 12th and graduation marks, you can actually overcome them. So coming back to the 12th marks, again there's an important thought or a good structure there. They've got a pretty sound structure in the sense that what they're doing is they're comparing boards with boards. They're not comparing a CBSE board student to a Orissa board student. So they're looking at your 12th score from your board, and they're looking at the pool of candidates who have given the same board ka 12th exam, and then they're looking at the marks scored by you versus them. So what they'll do is, if you're the topper of your board, you'll get the entire 10 marks. If you're the 80th percentile of that board, suppose you come from the Orissa board or you come from the CBSE, and your score against the pooled candidates, let's say 50,000 people of CBSE background have applied, and your score is, let's say, the 80th percentile. That means you are not in the top 10,000, or you are at the 10,000th rank. 20% people are above you. In that case, you'll get 0 marks for your 12th marks, 12 percentage. And in case you are at the topper's position of all the 50,000 people of CBSE assuming, then in that case you'll get all the 10 marks. So I think the delta on 12th marks will be somewhere around 5-6 marks, which can be easily be overcome. If a bad performance in your 12th board versus somebody who had a good performance in the 12th board, a 98, 99 percentiler in the pool of candidates, would beat you by around 5-6 marks here. So you are somewhere in the 5-6 negative category if you have had a bad 12th result versus somebody who has had a good or a decent CAT result. Of course, the great CAT result, 12th result guy, the great guy who actually maxed his 12th exam, one of the toppers of his board, he'll get a 10 mark advantage here. But if you're not really out, because people who would score 6-7 marks on this weightage will still be thinking of doing a decent CAT and getting through. So if you are against that 6 mark guy, if you are at 0 because you are outside the 80th percentile range or below the 80th percentile range, you can still fight for your selection by actually looking at your CAT score and making up those 6 marks there. So again, no need to be despondent if you have had a bad 12th result. The graduation result again is also fair in some ways, but unfair in some ways. 10 marks on graduation is built on a normalization of the academic discipline. So if you're an engineer, your scores will be compared to the pool of candidates who are engineers who have applied. If you are an MBA, if you are a commerce student or an art student, a BBA or a science student, then you'll be compared to commerce students, art students or science students only in that context. So that way it's fair. You will get a normalization. So how many standard deviations above the mean are you will define how many marks you get. So if you have 1 standard deviation above the mean, you'll get 6.66 marks. 2 standard deviations above the mean will get you 8.33 points. And 3 standard deviations above the mean, which will be very rare, will give you 10 marks out of 10 on graduation. But as I said, one part of this is unfair, and that unfair part here is that they're comparing engineers to engineers. So as you know, some colleges, some universities in the country do not give good marks, and other universities give great marks. So if you come from a university that did not give great marks or good marks in 12th, you have some universities where the topper is 70% and others where the topper is 95%. So you will not have an equality in that context. But I guess IIM Lucknow did not want to make the selection criteria for themselves and the calculations for themselves so difficult to understand or so difficult to do, because again, if you try to start segregating university wise, then there's a whole lot of can of worms which will open up, whether the university you come from has enough applicants to actually build a normal curve, and other things start coming into the picture. So they have taken the easy approach there. So you have a small disadvantage if you come from a university which did not give good marks and where the top was 70%. But still, I think, as I said, you still have the other 90 marks to take care of and push your way through, break the door if it does not open in polite knocking. So that makes it 80. Work experience is 10 marks, and work experience still 6 months does not count. After 6 months, it's a straight line equation. From 6 months to 26 months, for every extra month, you'll get 0.5 marks extra. At 26 months, you'll get 10 full marks on the work X. The formula is x minus 6 by 20, x minus 6 into 0.5. That is the value. And the maximum you can get is, of course, 10 marks. And where x is the number of months you have worked for. But after 26 months, the number is stable. You don't get any marks beyond 10. So if you do 27 months, 28 months, 40 months, 100 months, you will still get 10 marks on work experience. So that's one thing that you can look at. And again, those of you who are having some negatives in your graduation or your 12th marks, if in case in CAT 23 or CAT 22 for selection 23, you are falling behind a little bit, as you start gaining work experience in a couple of years, you start getting a favorable outcome out of that, and the negatives you have in your graduation and your 12th can actually be overcome by doing by just adding to your work experience over a period of time. So even if you are slightly short of IIM Lucknow in 23, if they keep the same structure in 24 and 25, you can still make it by adding work experience to yourself. So that's the next part, 10 points. And then the last 5, so that's 90 points then. The last 10 points are 5 points for gender diversity, which is given to females, and 5 points for academic diversity, which is given to non-engineers. So if you're a non-engineer, bad 12th or bad graduation, one bad result, the 5-7 marks you're losing there against everybody, you're making up those 5 marks against the engineers at least by getting 5 marks straight by the fact that you did not do an engineering. For the engineers, of course, you're expected to do well at CAT, and you're expected to do better at CAT, and that is supposed to take care of your outcomes. That's what it is. So as I always tell you, control the controllables in life, and IIM Lucknow gives you that opportunity in 2023 to control your controllables, do an excellent job with it, have a great CAT, and get in there. Thank you so much. Do subscribe to the channel, do like the video, do share the video, and do press the bell icon. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.